Hey, we're back with Professor Avram Ehrlich.
A vision from Jerusalem would invariably consider the broad swaths of time and intergenerational social evolution that trigger epochal and inter-epochal change. The rabbis have debated the triggers of change. Not change over 5 years or 10 years, but over 50 years, 100 years, hundreds of years. The structure, as they call it, to your children and your children's children and the children of your children's children till the third and the fourth generations. That is the conceptual thinking of the rabbinic class and the structures for intergenerational stability. The temple in Jerusalem stood for 500 or 600 years the second time, and previous to that 500 years, for 1,000 years of social stability. It was able to develop and harness and hone and fine-tune the mechanisms of stability using law and ritual and grammar and language. Hebrew, Ivrit, is the language of transition, of epochal transitions. The entire biblical story is about transition. The story of Noah, transition from one generation, of the Tower of Babel from another, of the sojourning of Abraham to another, through Hebrew, through another, through domestication, through agriculture, and again, today, the symbol of the temple, the stability, the dramatic theatric arena of our social structures and small groups, bringing gifts and acknowledgement and at the core of it, creativity, which is suggested in the entire story of the sojourning of Israel with the skills and the Mishkan, the tabernacle of the 39 great mechanics and instruments of creativity. That is the symbol. And to that one can return to address and to think as a structure towards identifying the course into the future. The prayers to rebuild Jerusalem and to rebuild the temple are quintessential of the Jewish and the optimistic human imagination to structure the human grouping in an ideal way, in a way which benefits humanity, in a way which is stable, in a way which can give fruit in its seasons over generations, in a way which can overarch and keep within its bound great reform, that envisage that reform exists and must be triggered, such as the reform of the Jubilee. The idea of the rebuilding of Jerusalem and the rebuilding of the temple is a general human ambition. Human when I mean all the religions, and human when I mean specifically the Arab world and the Muslim world, which there will come a time will pray for the rebuilding of Jerusalem. But for that to come about, it is necessary for great solutions to problems. The problem of the saltification, of the ossification, of the fossilization, of the calcification, of the archaic and obsolete and antiquated nature of governance. Today's governance is causing more problems than its value. Today's governance is obsolete. Today's governance, which costs the taxpayer, groaning under the burden, unacceptable prices, can be done for free by artificial intelligence mediums, by machinery, by automation. The function today of humanity would be to guide this automation in the best practices, with careful attention to human rights, to individual rights, to individual and to imaginational empowerment. That is the age we are in, the age which we have dreamt for, but it requires governance to manage the power that it has achieved on the way towards what has been achieved, and to manage its power, and even to limit its power, and to decentralize its power to individuals, to every individual. And that will be the quintification of the idea that individuals come up freely of their gifts, of the gifts of the firstborn, of the gifts of the first season, of the trees, to give in an organized way to the temple in Jerusalem. And that is why the Temple of Jerusalem is a summation of the solutions that humanity can find. There is no point in building a temple before the solutions to the greatest irkings of humanity, of slavery, of tragedy, of sickness, of problems. The temple will be a consensus amongst all the nations as the genii of Israel come to solve these problems. The individuals, the citizens, all of us of Israel, and its leadership. And the leadership that cannot do that are not the rightful leaders of Israel.